So Texas Senator Ted Cruz this week writing to DHS Secretary Mayorkas. He wants more information about the screening process of migrants who enter the country using the Customs and Border Protection One app and are looking to board flights. Cruz wants to know why the TSA is even letting illegal immigrants in without identification to use the app to get on a plane. He says that process, quote, takes illegal aliens at their word. Congressman Chip Roy, Republican of Texas, joins me now. Thank you so much for talking to us. The border right now is wide open, and the president has finally, I guess, had a conversation with the president of Mexico to address the issue. But when the United States doesn't close the border, it's not up to the Mexican president to tell its people to stop entering. Isn't it our responsibility? And what is this president thinking?
Well, it's great to be on, Julie, and you're exactly right. I mean, it's nice that President Biden is, finally talking to the president of Mexico, but this should have been happening a long time ago. And when his own press secretary is going to the mic and saying, oh, there's nothing new going on here, that's crazy. I mean, what's new here is we've had record numbers this week. We had 45,000 in apprehension since Monday alone. The extent to which this crisis is now escalating beyond anything we've ever seen before is something we can now see with our own eyes. And a shout out to Bill Malugin for all of his excellent reporting. You're right. He's been shining a light on this for a long time. A lot of us have been saying this, and you all know this, and I've been on the show with Harris and others on Fox, going all the way back to my first year in Congress in 2019, trying to point out that when you're ignoring the enforcement of our laws, then you're going to have this crisis continue to grow. We've been saying that, and the White House has ignored it intentionally, purposely. And you heard in the interviews, right? What were they saying? They were saying, queremos trabajar. What is that? I want to work. Well, you know what? God bless them. I understand that. That is not what our laws allow. Our laws are not for that. Our laws do not allow parole and asylum. Those are supposed to be specific for cases of actual persecution, religious persecution, political persecution. And the fact is, we've put a big neon sign on our border saying, come in, and our poor Border Patrol agents are overwhelmed, and Texans are dying. 6 children in the school district in which my family lives died from fentanyl poisonings last year. That is heartbreaking talking to the parents. We've got to stop it, and Republicans need to hold the line here against the White House. And I'm glad you said about Mike Johnson. He is correct. We need to hold the line. We should not have a single dollar going to Ukraine at all until the southern border of the United States is secure. And importantly, why would we go fund the Department of Homeland Security on February 2nd without demanding changes from this administration?
Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick with some pretty choice words for the president over the border crisis. I want you to listen to this.
Everybody knows it. This president is cold-hearted. He doesn't care about what's happening to American citizens or those coming here. We're going to put them on planes, we're going to put them on trains, we're going to put them on buses, we're going to do whatever we can. We're going to get them out of Texas. I want to send them all to Martha's Vineyard. I want to send them all to Delaware and Rehoboth.
Okay, so under Title 42, when you tried to cross the border, you were sent back, okay? Under Biden's open border policy, you were allowed in. And these Custom Border Patrol agents that we were talking about, it's literally 200 migrants to 1. That's how ridiculous it is. They're working the holiday rather than booking people, either containing them or sending them back to their country. They're actually processing paperwork in order for them to be bused to sanctuary cities here in the United States. I mean, look at them climbing over the barriers. We've watched thousands. There's nobody there stopping them. They're just like, welcome. I'm surprised that they're not holding welcome signs like they do at the airport when your loved ones touch down. But this is how easy it is for migrants to come into the border. Now, we've got an election around the corner. Let's talk about that, because apparently, supposedly, Kamala Harris is going to start campaigning in 2024, and she's going to start traveling across the country. When is she going to travel to the border? That's where she needs to go campaign.
Yeah, I mean, her only trip to the border has been in a pit stop to go do a fundraiser in California. She stopped in El Paso for a photo op. The president, the vice president, Secretary Mayorkas, totally MIA. But let me go back. Dan Patrick is 100% right. The lieutenant governor is completely correct. We should be shipping folks to other parts of the country, as Greg Abbott did that last year. My friend Governor DeSantis sent a plane full of people who are here illegally to Martha's Vineyard. That was important. And, on the political dynamic, Republicans need to go on offense on this, because this is something that is critical to our national security. security, and we can win on this. And it's something that not only can we win politically, we can win for the American people if we'll stand up and fight. But it's going to take all of us to go say we're going to hold the line on funding of government and on Ukraine to demand change out of this administration, because they're blatantly ignoring the laws, using asylum and parole to completely consume it. We passed H.R. 2, and people throw that around like, oh, that's a crazy bill. You know what you just talked about on Title 42?
Right.
That was a health code COVID provision. We got H.R. 29, my bill, to say turn-away authority should be fully in place.
Okay.
We got that embedded into H.R. 2 to give them the power to turn away.
Yep.
The White House doesn't want to use it because they want to endanger us and have open borders. We should stop that and stand with Border Patrol and the American people.
All right. I've got new information I want to talk to you about regarding the congressional testimony of former Delaware Assistant U.S. Attorney Leslie Wolf. House Republicans and IRS whistleblowers accuse her of working to limit questions about President Biden. Now, in her deposition to a House panel last week, she denied politics played any role in the Hunter Biden investigation. We'll see about that. Committee Chair Jim Jordan frustrated, obviously, by the interview. Let's listen.
Well, Ms. Wolf refused to answer most of our questions. Even, we had a number of exhibits where she's sending the email, she's receiving the email, and she refused to answer just about every question it seemed we had.
The New York Post reports Wolf testified 79 times that she was not authorized by the DOJ to answer certain questions about the case. Now, when the House returns from its holiday break, it will likely weigh contempt charges for Hunter because, as you know, you're on the committee, he denied a subpoena for an interview. So you can deny a subpoena for an interview when, if you're innocent, why would you do that? And second of all, if you don't answer questions, how do you get answers? It seems dodging questions seems politically motivated. Am I wrong here?
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. I mean, look, the truth is pretty simple. There's $15 to $24 million that we know has flowed from foreign sources and foreign countries,
right.
Enemies, like China, into the Biden family. We know that, okay? And that's the evidence. We also know that the president lied about knowing about the business associations between Hunter and the individuals involved. And now we're seeing the obstruction, the third prong of this, where the DOJ is not allowing us to get to the truth. That's why the impeachment inquiry was so important just 2 weeks ago when we voted to do that. So we now have more powers. And now what you're seeing with Leslie Wolf is more of the same obstruction, more of the same refusal to answer the questions. They don't want to answer the questions because they know the truth. The fact is they were slow walking the investigation. When we wanted to look at Hunter Biden's tax returns in 2014 and 15, they let the statutes of limitation run. That means that they were engaging in obstructing justice of us trying to pursue the truth.
Yeah.
So Jim Jordan and Jamie Comer are going to keep doing the good work, and we should hold Hunter Biden in contempt. He knows full well he didn't want to come forward and testify. He wants to come forward and plead the fifth. He can do that. But he shouldn't thumb his nose at the hearing. He should have come forward and he should have answered questions in a deposition because he's got a lot of explaining to do.
His father has a lot of explaining to do. I mean, the
That's
left
right.
likes to say that there's no evidence that his father knew about his business dealing and possibly even profited from business dealings, despite the fact that there is a paper trail of millions of dollars being funneled to the Biden
That's right.
family. I'd like to hear from the president himself, rather than hearing more about how he supports his son. It's great that he's a doting, loving father, but it looks like there's a lot more here than that.
Well, and remember that the DOJ, the whistleblowers, they tell us that Leslie Wolf was saying, it was politically motivated in October of 2020 that the DOJ didn't want to get in and go pursue what we were looking into with Hunter's laptop. So we know that it was politically motivated, and DOJ is refusing to let that evidence come to light. The American people deserve to know the truth. This isn't political. This isn't retribution. This is about our country and foreign actors sending millions of dollars to influence the Vice President of the United States. He lied about it, and then he's obstructing us getting to the truth. But this shouldn't be a shiny object from us doing the work of the American people to secure the border and cut spending, but we should pursue the truth wherever it may lead.
Yeah, it's under there somewhere, but unfortunately it's going to take longer because they're not being very transparent about it. Congressman Chip Roy, thank you very much for talking to us. Appreciate it, and Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas, Julie.
Thank you.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.